So hello everyone, we are going to learn majorly about that how MongoDB works, like what is MongoDB, how this MongoDB things work out, and why we need it, right? And like how you gonna use it, why we use it. So let me give you a real example right now. What happens. Um, Let me come to this. Okay, very first thing first, that why we need MongoDB. MongoDB is very good when it comes to write any software from Bootstrap. Right, it's something like you are not very sure about writing databases, right? Usually the good practice is that you start by designing your database first, that what the database will look like, what would be the ER diagram, what would be the foreign key. Although these things make sense a lot when it comes to SQL databases. In MongoDB, usually we don't talk a lot about this, that how to do database diagrams and everything. The reason behind it, MongoDB is very flexible about these things. You can see even in the notes I have mentioned that MongoDB allows flexible structures. So when it comes to SQL, it's difficult because they usually have this rigid nets in it, right? So majorly we talk about that, hey, how I can write a code, how I can write a database. I can start coding. I don't have to think a lot about the database. I want to get the MVP done ASAP. The major idea behind using MongoDB is writing your MVP ASAP. That's the whole thing that everyone cares about, right? So let's come to the topic. We are going to use it in the code, how it's going to write it in the code, and how everything's work out. So first thing first, I want to talk about the theories. Why theories? Because in the backend interviews, a lot of time interviews doesn't only question about your backend things, but also question about your database understanding. So that's why it's important. That's why this whole note is available for everyone in the public. They can go with all of this thing. This will help you. It's work as a quick reboot for understanding your MongoDB as well, and preparing for your interview in case you are going to get questioned about MongoDB. So very first thing, MongoDB is a NoSQL document object database. Why document object? Because if you seen in the previous classes, we had talked about JSON. This is how usually the data things in the database of MongoDB stores, like, right? So this is a JSON format in that. This is what we call document oriented database. Its core concept is storing data as documents. That's documents. Actually, documents is nothing binary JSON. It's binary because either it will save, either it won't, right? So this binary JSON we call, and grouped, like this is a single JSON file, right? This is a single JSON file. What happens? Let me show you in the notepad. Sorry guys, I have a little bit of cold. So let's say I have something like this. In this, let me zoom it, right? How much zoom? This much should be enough, right? So what happens, that I store something like this. This is one thing that I had stored in this, right? There is some ID, name, age. ID is always, the object ID is always unique. And again, when I will store another object, this is one object, by the way, there's another object, and there's another object again. So what you will see, there is continuous objects, right? There are multiple objects stored in this curly braces, that we call collection. The collection is nothing but the objects which are stored in the database. In the MongoDB is actually known as collection. So in Postgres we refer this as a table, but in MongoDB we call it collection. That's it. There are jargons difference, and there is a reason behind it. We are going to talk about it in the Postgres, in the SQL classes we are going to talk about it as well. But okay, what was the reason that I have to get a NoSQL database like MongoDB? What was the philosophy? What was the reason? What was the ideology basically? So flexibility over rigidity, as I told in the earlier section, that hey, I want flexibility, right? I don't want to think a lot, because when I'm going to start writing my backend in the SQL, I have to first figure out that hey, how the table will look like, how the columns gonna look like, what are the rows would be, right, what would be the connectivity, everything. So this takes a lot of time, and MVP get delayed a lot of time due to this. As with the engineers, the founding engineers who are starting from zero, from the scratch, and they have a very tight deadline about launching an MVP, they start with MongoDB. Why? Because while they are coding the backend, they also figure out they also able to write the database at the same time. They don't have to think. It's easier to roll back, it's easier to create what I can say foreign key type establishment and a lot of things. So this is why it's MongoDB is actually flexible. Horizontal scalability, rollback. Rollback is something like, it's not actually rollback in database, it's a jargon that I used by mistake. Rollback is basically means, let's suppose something you push in the production, and what happened that that feature was not right, something was not right, or the feature has some bug, this is in the production. Rollback is means that you are coming back to your previous version of the stable software or stable logic, right. This also goes for the database. Rollback is a jargon which means coming back to a stable version, coming back to your previous version. That's what we call rollback. So rollback is rollback या revert, yeah, we usually call rollback coming from the prod to this, but you can call it revert, but rollback makes more sense. A lot of developers use rollback as a word. Okay, so horizontal scalability, designed to scale with distributed system, that is true, but Postgres is also designed for this. Although the reason behind it, like suppose someone wants to actually scale the MongoDB, they can do it through the horizontal scalability. They had given the horizontal scalability. What is horizontal scalability? That's a system design thing. So let's suppose there is a complete server, there is a complete system, right, and you don't want that a lot of you don't want to spend a lot on a single server. So what you do, you collect cheaper systems side by side and make a horizontal server instead of the vertical. Vertical have a lot of GPU, SSD, RAM, right, and but it will cost a lot. Instead of that, what you decided, hey, let's divide everything, let's get cheaper server. I will send my users to the cheaper server so that I can save money. That's horizontal scalability. That will be make more sense in the system design lecture, but in case you understood, good. No, it's completely fine. High speed development, JSON like structures fits modern apps, Node.js, React, etc. That is true, and especially when it comes to write something from scratch, completely from scratch, MVP type, right. So this is why the database. First thing first, I forgot to mention that why we need database. Database is somewhere where you store everything for the user, right. Let's suppose I go on my Instagram, there is some post I had posted, right. On the Instagram, when I go, I post something and it will be there until I don't delete it, right. Why it's there? Because it is stored somewhere. The database is something like your hard drive or SSD in your system, where you will see, hey, I have something, I have stored something, and that would be there, gonna be there until unless I don't delete it, or otherwise my system doesn't get on fire or doesn't shut down by own or have some disruption from the environment, until unless that would be stored permanently into your hard drive. And this is what database looks like. Database is actually somewhere in the CPU using some hard disks or SSD, in which in a data structures way, data structure like in the database type, the database use some data structures behind it, and in that way this will make sense that, hey, I want to store something in my database and it should be permanently there until unless I don't decide to delete it, right. So it should be there, it would be there as well, and it would be there until unless I don't decide that, hey, I want to delete the entire row or entire table, something like that. Until unless it should be there, right, the permanent solution to keep everything. I don't want that, hey, this is a website, there is something written, right, if I refresh it, it should be there. It's not supposed to get completely wipe off. It shouldn't be a blank canvas. I want to keep it here. Every time I come to this link, it should be there. Why? So basically, it's somewhere stored in a database, somewhere back of your mine, this is somewhere in the database stored permanently. So that's why we use databases. Database is used to store, and we use that data again to compute something to give output to the users. So that is this thing. Although every database have their own purposes, we are talking about MongoDB. We are going to talk about what MongoDB do. So first thing first, SQL. I call it SQL. A lot of people call it SQL. Your choice. Okay, now good. So here are the conceptual differences. First thing first, as I told, we don't call tables. We in the MongoDB we call it collections. So this is collections. In the SQL we call rows. What is row? Let me show you by a design. Skelly draw. If it does make sense to you people, it will make sense to everyone. Let's suppose there is a complete database. In the database, what happens? I have decided what happens. This is a database. I will store all of this thing. Please, people have started joining again. Please, someone drop the link of the notes in the chat. That would be great, right? So, yep, there's something like this. This is, let's suppose there is an Excel. That's why I am taking so much of time. Let me call and open a Google Sheet for this for now. So your Postgres somewhere look like this, not somewhere, but a lot something like this, where your first table, like you can see A, B, C, these are your column names, right? The column name. Let's suppose for making it more easier, I will call it roll number, I will call it name, I will call it age, city. Let's suppose I am talking about this. So what happens? This is an entire table I am talking about, right? This is a table. This much is a table, and the roll number, name, age, city are the names of the columns. The columns. What is columns? This is column, right? What is row? Row is this. In the columns, the column means that hey, everything under a roll number. Let's suppose someone have the roll number 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And there's name, Akash, Anchal, Yash, Atishay, right? These are the things which is there, right? So this is a name where what happens? This is a key. The key is name. In the name section, there is Akash, Anchal, Yash, Atishay. Age is like 23, 18. Yash is 23. Atishay is around 20, right? Something like this. And the city is like some XYZ cities. Let's talk about this much only. So you can see that if I talk about the column of roll number, if I just say hey, column of the roll number, I am talking about 1, 2, 3, 4. If I talk about B, the name, right? The name, I just want name, the column name, right? To Akash, Anchal, Yash, Atishay. Now when I talk about rows, right? When I talk about rows, I am talking about 1 Akash 23. This is the row that I am talking about. I am not talking about other things. I am just talking about the complete detail for a single person. Let's suppose I just want details of Akash. Akash lives in Surat, let's say. I live in Gurgaon, by the way, but let's say I am living in Surat. I just want to know, hey, where Akash lives. I will just choose the row where the roll number of Akash is 1, the age is 23, and the city he lives is Surat. So I am talking about hey, Akash do live in Surat. Am I able to guess it by the name? Hey, in the column, can you tell me the city? No, because the column holds the key and the value regarding it. The key is name and the value regarding is Akash, Anchal, Atishay. That's it. So this is what we call the column. This is the column, and this is the row. Row stores the value. The column stores the key. That's it. Does this make sense? Guys, does this make sense? Okay, let's go forward. So this is what rows, what we call in the database rows. That means this. is actually nothing but in Postgres we call it documents, right? The data that I am talking about, 1 Akash 23 Surat, is actually documents. We call it document in here. Fixed schema, once you apply this, once you say that hey, I just want this data, whether roll number, name, age, city, right? So you can't put something like college name, you can't give it suddenly, you can't do it, right? This is not flexible at all. If you had chosen this, and let's say Anchal doesn't want to give the college name, let's suppose Anchal Akash, a teacher, doesn't want to give college name, only Akash is ready, okay, I will give my college name, but doesn't make sense because everyone will don't have that college name, so I can't put it. But in MongoDB, by exception, if I want that Akash should have college name, I can do that. Just for Akash, or for some exception case, I can do that. This is flexible for me. So what could be a real case scenario when I am working? Let's suppose someday my founder came, hey, I want to store something like this as well in the database. What happens when it comes to SQL? In SQL, I have to first define null for the database. I have to write a query to create a table, all right? First, like I have to get into the database first. I have to create another column whose name is college, and then I have to define that the college is null, right? It's gonna take a lot of step. Then I will come back to the backend code. I'm not discussing the whole step is about touching the database first and then coming back to the backend code. But in MongoDB, if I'm using MongoDB in my backend, I don't have to touch my database at all. I will just write a query and I will store the college name in the backend itself. Yes, this is how MongoDB works. MongoDB is flexible. I can do it on the spot, right? I am thinking that hey, I want to add something like this, I can do it. You will do it in the tomorrow's class, but for now you have to understand this is a flexibility that your NoSQL database gives, the MongoDB gives, right? To fixed schema, flexible schema, right? Joins heavily used. Joins is something in a join, a right side join. This is, you are going to understand more in SQL. So just keep it, remember something like this. Joins heavily used. Embedding, denormalization is here. Denormalization means that the repeated data should be less, right? The redundancy would be less. SQL is very good in vertical scaling, but MongoDB is very good in vertical scaling. But what about the data integrity if we put anything in the database? That's the issue in the scalability, Simran, that I was talking about when it comes to MongoDB. The question, what about the data integrity if we put anything in the database? That's the reason you can put it in the somewhere you can validate in the backend. But let's suppose one of your developer is very lazy, so it's gonna happen. There is 1% chance that's gonna happen. That's why a lot of startups and a lot of MNCs use Postgres or SQL, in short SQL, SQL, because this is what they can't do in the SQL. And this is a very bigger issue when it comes to scalability, because in this, when the app is smaller, it's completely fine, because very less chances are there that there should be data integrity. There would be overlapping of data as well, right? This is very rare chances that can happen, but there are chances that it can happen. But when it's scale, it's a bigger risk that there could be data integrity, there would be data overlapping, right? These are the issues that MongoDB can face. So that's why. Best for structured transaction, the SQL, and best for scalable evolving data as per the theory. As per the theory, it's good for scalability, it's good evolving data, but in honest opinion, as someone who write this code, basically using Postgres can take a little bit of extra of your efforts, but trust me, scaling it in the SQL, you can do it in the vertical scaling as well, right? SQL can be used in vertical, horizontal scaling as well. You can do it. I will talk about it later on, but you can do it. And personal opinion, use Postgres if you are going to scale a lot, if you have a lot of users and you want to maintain the security, overlapping, you don't want that data overlap or data get any hampering issues, right? So that's why Postgres is far better compared to this. But yeah, in the theories on documents, it's written that. But a lot of people, when there are a lot of users, a lot of CTUs doesn't prefer MongoDB for that. Does this much part is clear? A little bit theory is there. So yeah, it can make a little bit of boreat, aside you. So but keep your patience with me right today. Do industries still use MariaDB? Yes. The companies who are still using .NET, they are using MariaDB yet. But I had seen a lot of people, a lot of companies shifting to Postgres, and then MariaDB is there, but not as much like how it was prominent 10 or 15 years ago. But right now, Postgres is more dominating in the database structure, database thing. So yeah, BSON. So BSON is nothing. BSON just means binary JSON, right? Yeah, using Postgres with .NET Core is now a new standard. Thank you, Hanil. Hanil will support me up because Hanil is someone who is actually an engineer from 2 years. He is experienced and still attending the class. Thank you, Hanil. Okay, BSON, MongoDB's internal format, extra data type, date, binary, decimal 128, decimal 128. These are the extra data type that usually in the JSON you don't see. What are the extra? Date, you can store date. Is there any date? Yeah, like created at, right? ISO date. So this is a date format that you can store. Binary, you can store binary things 0 and 1, true or false, and decimal 128. The decimal 120 is actually bigger format of digits. You can store bigger range of digits. So that's what decimal 128. Faster scanning due to binary structure. Object ID, unique ID generated automatically. Although it's true that you can scan it very quickly because there is a binary structure. What is binary structure? Let me show you. Sorry guys, I literally have bad cold. So what happens? Now I can show you. Not why don't I should start taking the images before we have, like, let's get into this description. I will copy paste it as well. Binary is a binary encoded serialization format used by MongoDB to store, document and perform remote procedure calls. Technically, here I want to show you there's some encryption, like serialization format. I'm trying to figure it out if I can, how it's look like. Although it's a theory and it's good to know, I am just trying to find that serialization. Okay, let me add this right for now. So basically this is just a number, that something like number which is there, and that will be used. Okay, I can't do it because I'm in the publish. I will add it later, no issues. So you get object ID, unique ID generated automatically. That is object ID. So you don't define underscore ID. That's same for the SQL. You can do it as well. But yeah, in the object ID, something like this is getting created. Usually UUID type. So there's always a unique object. You don't have to define it in your schema. It will always get generated. I will show you right now, right? So this is what example document look like. You can see the ID. This is a primary key. Primary key is something which is not going to overlap or which is not going to ever going to get repeated, right? So this is the object ID, and something like this you just define it. Name Sophia, age 27. Okay. So let's talk about working with databases and collection. Is there a function or package for ID generation? In MongoDB, you don't require, like, of course, if in case you just want to generate UUID, you want to generate numbers, you can do it. But ideally people don't do it because the object ID is pretty enough, right? So you don't need it, but you can, if you want, you can do it. It's hard coding. It will take a little bit of space. A lot of time there are chances, there are edge cases where the companies want that, hey, I want the object ID to actually follow some certain format, right? They can do that as well. So now let's talk about working with databases and collections. So for that, what we will set up some things in our computer. First thing first, download Mongoose, right? So download MongoDB community server. I already have in my system. Yeah, I have. So first thing first, what you have to do, why I keep saying first thing first, sorry, my bad. MongoDB community server, we used to call it Mongoose, but now maybe the name has changed. MongoDB community server, you can use whatever, like I am in the Windows, you can just download MSI package. If you download, it will just give a .exe file. Just double click it, do next and finish till it's get finished, right? After this, when you do it, you have to download MongoDB collection, MongoDB Compass. You can download MongoDB Compass download, like this link, MongoDB Compass. And download it, right? It will help you. Let me see in my CMD Mongoose will work. In case this gives you a GUI format, I will show you as well that, but let me show you in Mongoose. If I do Mongoose, no, Mongo, I don't have MongoDB. Okay, I don't download. Let me download it. You can either do it, or either you can just go on this, right? If you click on this, you will come to the MongoDB Atlas. You can sign in. I usually use this. Just download MongoDB Compass for now, right? And come to the cloud MongoDB, login with anything you want. I think I am using Brave. Brave won't support. Brave doesn't support account login. Let me open it in the Chrome. I don't know what's the issue with this Brave thing. So is there, okay, I had answered that question already. My system is running pretty slow for now, but let's see. MongoDB Atlas. Just search MongoDB Atlas, come to MongoDB, create your account. I'm showing everything. MongoDB Atlas. It's easier because you don't have to download anything in your system other than MongoDB Compass. Even if you don't want to download it, you can skip that. You can do it in the Atlas as well. But it's good to download. It's look like a professional engineer, of course. Let me close some of the things that are open, right? It doesn't hinder me a lot. Close all. Okay, I want this. I don't want this, right? Do I need this? Yes, I need this. Do I need this? No, I don't need this. Do I need this? No, I don't need this. Cool. Let me also close my Discord here. Close all. Let me close my code editor as well. I don't need the code editor for today. Let me close my Excel sheet. Oh, why I am using so much of application on a single time? How my system is running still? Don't save. I think it's free now. It's have a lot of space now. Okay, it should work better now. Cool. Okay, now great. Let me just sign in with the Google for now. Just come to Atlas, just choose whatever the account. I will use this account for now. When you will sign in, okay, you will see something like this, right? You will see something like this. You can create your new project here. View all project. Although I believe now it's get a little costly, because I remember we used to create new project. Okay, I can create a new project. Let me create a new project. I will call cohort class, and next, right, I don't need to add any owner, so I will just create a project, and when I will do it, loading project overview, and here I can create a cluster. I will create a cluster. This is the important part from where I can use the Mongo, and from here we will run the queries. Create a cluster. I will click create a cluster. It will create a cluster for me in which I can store. I can choose a free version of it. Cluster 0, whatever name you want to give. I want to keep it as usual, MongoDB. Let me see, is it free? Is it free one? Is it free one? Yeah, there is a free one. I have to choose. So in the free, you get a storage 512 MB, which is very good in case you want to launch your MVP. 512 MB is pretty good in terms of memory, and compared to MongoDB, it's very good. If you ever think that, hey, I want to launch something crazy as an MVP, you can consider MongoDB. The database cost will get 0 for you until unless it's 512 MB, which is very good. Actually, it stores a lot of numbers, a lot of data in that 512 MB. So you can choose that. A hack, like I always talk about agile module, I usually talk about launching faster MVP with the cheapest price. So this is one thing. So here you can see there is a username I have, right? I will copy it. Let me get my notepad again. So you will see when you connect to cluster, I will save this. Okay, I can just simply copy this completely, right? Okay, I have this. Okay, I will get confused. Let me do this. That's it. I will create database user. You can, even if you want to get your own password, you can do it. Although I'm not going to use it, you can use my database things. Your current IP address, right? It's there, but what we have to do, drivers. Not we don't need drivers, by the way. Go back. We don't need driver. We want to do it in the Compass. I will click Compass. I have MongoDB Compass installed because I already have, and this is something I just have to copy, right? That's it, and done. And what I will do now, I will open my MongoDB Compass. Give me I have Compass, right? I had Compass. Why it's happening now? Yeah, MongoDB Compass. When I open this, it can take time. MongoDB Compass is little slow. When you install, in case you had installed a MongoDB Compass, you has went through this whole step of getting your own MongoDB server. Give me a minute, guys. Hello. Sorry, my bad, guys. I just got a call in between. Sorry, my bad. So you will see something like this, and when you open your MongoDB Compass for the first time, you just have to click on add new connection. That's it. You will just get something like this. You just have to paste your thing. That's it. Just paste and right. First thing first, connect. Let me see if I can get connected. You can do save and connect. I had done this, and here, this is something I got, right? That's it. Now what I will do for now is it Compass 1.4. Okay, the latest version is getting downloaded. I will just open MongoDB shell. For now, for this entire thing, for this entire cohort, entire today's lecture, I just need this, right? I will come to this, I will choose my cluster, and I will just come to the MongoDB, open MongoDB shell. That's it, right? I just have to do this, restart. I'm updating my Compass. I don't know why I did it in between of my class. Sorry, my bad. Let it update. That would be a good thing. Again, I will just do add new connection. I will just paste everything, save and connect. I will just do save and connect, clustering, installed. Yeah, there are two different clusters. I don't remember which one is mine. I can use any one of them, right? So let me use this. I will open MongoDB shell. That's it for now. Now after this, are this much of steps are clear with you people? Docker, you can use Docker as well, but for now because I hadn't touched the Docker thing, I'm not going to use Docker because it will just create confusion. If you want, you can use Docker if you are aware of Docker, right? But let's keep this in mind because this cohort is tier 1. I expect a lot of students don't understand a lot of technical jargons or technical things, so that's why. So now I will open this side and I will open this side. That's, oh sorry, my bad, I don't need this now, I just need this. That's it, right? And keep it here. Cool. So now we are going to use the MongoDB shell. This much step is clear with you people, right? This much steps is clear with you, that how you will start your MongoDB shell, so that we can start understanding how to use MongoDB. Cool. Let's proceed further. You will get this shell which we are going to use this all command. So first thing first, I will say, I don't think we have school. Let's see, will it create use school? Yes. Switch to database school, in which I am writing. I just need to refresh it, right? Okay, let's keep use. Basically you created another database, that is not something like you are creating a database. In this you are creating a collection. The collection is table, right? In Postgres it's table. So what I will do, school. I hope I am not using prep cluster. Let me remove prep cluster. It's not something good that I am using another one cluster. So let's say I want to create a database. What is the first thing I will do? This is simple, db.create collection students. The best part of this is, seems like a very simple English. db means database, create. I want to create a collection whose name is nothing else but student, right? Students, and I will just enter. If you see OK1, it means that okay, your database collection has been created for now. Okay, this one is connected. Refresh. Yeah, you can see when I refresh it, you can see that what you can see there is something called, can I zoom it? Yeah, I can zoom it. Nice. You can see there is a database whose name is school, in which the collection name students. Okay, I written a wrong name. Can I rename the collection? Of course I can do, because I am using MongoDB Compass. Compass is GUI format, so this is very good thing. But because we want to understand we want to understand about writing it in through the query, we are doing it, right? Let's suppose I don't want this. What happened? Oh my bad. Oh, ऐसा है क्या? I can do this. Okay, cool. Let's suppose I don't want the name of the collection to be students. I want to drop it, right? I don't want to use it. In the school I want to drop the student. I can do that. I just have to do db.drop. What drop mean? Okay, db.students. The students is the collection of name of the collection, right? Drop. I have to do db.collection name .drop. That's it. And when I do enter, what happens? If it comes true, it simply means that can I resize it more? Yeah, I can do it. If I refresh it, you will see the students collection, the complete school section has been wiped out, because school only had one collection which we had deleted. Let's try to create few. I can just do upper key, that will go through the history of the queries that we are writing. Let's suppose I want to say students, and in this collection I also want to create subjects, classrooms, let's say class, right? Class. So now if I refresh it, there is class and students both. I just want to delete the class one, right? What I will do is db.class.drop. I just want to drop the class collection. I don't want the class collection anymore. I just have to do db.class.drop, enter, and yes, that's it. If I refresh, the class section has been dropped. This is how you drop the class. This is how you drop the collection. Let's suppose I create it again. Right, I have multiple collections like this: class, students. There would be something like school. Let's something like subjects as well. Let's create a collection name subjects. Subjects. Enter. There are different thing, class, student, subjects. I want to delete everything. I don't want a school collection in itself. I don't want school. I want to delete it entirely. How I can do this? I just do db dot drop database. That's it. When I drop the database, the complete entire school will get deleted. Does this make sense, guys? Does this make sense, guys? Okay, Hanil has given me thumbs up. What about others? Others, did you understood? Anshul understood? Cool. In the previous classes, in the last week classes, we had talked about CRUD. CRUD means create, read, update, delete. This was the full form I had given. How we will do it with our own system, with our own database. Like how it only happens in database. Like maximum of the time you will just storing your data in the database, right? So the CRUD operation gonna happen in your database, and we are going to do it through the query today by the backend language tomorrow. In the backend, how we will be creating a project where we are going to understand that how to write MongoDB queries in a backend and how to make a project out of it, right? So this will give you a good idea, but for now today it's important to understand. So what I will do, I will create first thing first collection. I will create the collection class. My bad, db dot drop database, my bad. What I have to do, I will create a use school. I created a database already on DB. It's nice. I want to use something like create collection, db dot create collection class. No, I want to create students. Let's say yeah, thank you Aztec for sharing this. Students, right? I just do this, and please share this with your friends if you want, right? And if you feel that is good enough, it's free, and the video will be uploading on YouTube as well. I am thinking to upload this particular lecture on YouTube. That will help others, and that only this lecture, maybe few others, but not every lecture. So yeah, so db dot create collection students, and I had created students as well. Let me refresh it now. School students, that's great. Crazy enough, right? It's crazy that we had done it. Now the best part, I hadn't decided any schema. I hadn't decided what would be anything in this database. So what I can do now, I will just do db dot students, because I have students. In this I will say insert one, right? Insert one means insert only one thing, like one object at a time. So I'm just talking about insert one object. I will just do this, and that's okay. My bad, I can't just write it. I have to put everything in this function. I will write something like name. I don't have to decide anything, right? I don't have to think that what I have to give, what I have to not. I hadn't created any schema. It's completely pure blank canvas, and I can give anything I want. So name, and here let's suppose Akash. I will give it Akash, and this age is, because it's number, I am not going to put it in the columns, 21. Courses, if let's give courses is in the array format, courses, CSE and DSA. Let's suppose there are two subjects, and let's keep this schema thing, address thing there only, but I will explain it to you as well, right? What is happening in the address, why address is important, because in the address you can see address have multiple values in it, right? You can see address have multiple values in it, and So address is also holding sub objects in that. So address is holding city and zip. So this is what happens. You can do in document as well, that in the key the address is now working as a key, where it's also referring to another object, that is city and zip. So that's important to understand that how address is written. So now if I see in the students, I will see, okay, let me delete this because it's got created by mistake. You can see there is object ID name Akash 21. Now as I told you, I hadn't decided anything to store, right? I just did it randomly. I did it bootstrapped ad hoc, right? I want to do it again, but this time in the name, let's suppose I put Anchal, age is 18 for now, and in the courses I keep the courses same because she is on the same course. I want to give the city as well, and now I am giving the city, which I hadn't given in the past object, right? I hadn't given it in the past object, and still it will accept it. So in students, when I refresh it again, you can see Anjali is here. She have city as well. So this is what I mean when it comes to flexibility. You can decide at any time, or like of course at any time, that I want to give some key to this. I want this key to be stored. You can do it without modifying your database schemas and anything. So this is the beauty of MongoDB. This is the beauty of NoSQL database, right? So that's what you are doing right now. Does this make sense? The flexibility thing does make sense to you people? Cool. Let me clear. Clear is not defined. Okay. CLS. Yeah, CLS works. Cool. Insert instead of insert one, now when you use insert many, you can put multiple data, multiple objects at one. Okay, so I will just copy paste it, right? You can do it as well. You just see insert many, each have name, age. So this is one object, this is another, that's it. So if I paste it here and if I put enter, now what happened, at a single time there are multiple okay, I have to get into students, not my bad. Let me close it. If I refresh, now I have 4, I had put it 2, I can put more, I can put 6, I can put 10, I can put 100 at a single time if I use insert many. So insert many is used to put multiple objects in it, but it's an array. You can see this start with bigger bracket and close it on the bigger bracket, like it's you are putting something in array to push at a one go. So remember this, insert many in this you are also mentioning in the function, you are also mentioning it in the array format. So that's why you use bigger bracket. So this is insert many. This is how you do the create thing. This is how you had done the create. You had created a new data in the database, right? You had created new data. Let's talk about the read. I want to read about the students, all the data that I want to do. I had done it right now in the GUI format, but let's suppose there is no GUI. I want to do it on the Linux. This is only a CLI environment. I want to do it in that. I just have to do first I have to be in the school database. So I am in the use school, right? So I'm already in the school database. In that database I want to see everything in the collection called students. So db dot students dot find, right? So when I do this, I put nothing in the find section, and when I put enter, I get all the data that are in the students collection, right? This is the entirely, like this is how we read entirely everything. Let's suppose I want to give a filter. I just want that, hey, I just want what I want. I just want students who are of the age of 22, right? Can I do it? Let's do it. So now in the previous syntax, that db.class students.find, I will just put something in the find segment. I don't have to change anything. I just have to put this in the function. My bad. I just have to put this in this function object. In this I will just mention age, and let's suppose I want students from age 22, whosoever is 22 or whosoever is 23, let's say, and if I press enter, because there is no data in 23, let's me do it in 22 for the 22 students. Can I do it in 22? If I do, there John Doe is in 22 age group. Without detection, how it access array of object. And this is a data structure related question. Let's not get into that because it will take a lot of time when it's come, because then I will talk about reverse engineering it. So let's keep it for there only, Aztec. I think it's completely fine if we don't touch that matter for now. Let's not make the lecture longer than it was expected already. Cool. Let's come to this. Let's suppose I want to find some GPA like this. You can do that again, but there is comparison operator. This is a comparison operator, by the way. This is GT, that is greater than, right? So what it means, like, let's suppose I will do this db.student.find. Right, in this I want to use comparison operator. You can do it, right? I hadn't mentioned anything, so I will just come here, comparison operator. I will create a table for this, right? Thank you. I just show this right now in MongoDB. So there are different comparison parameters, right, in the MongoDB itself. Also, it's not as usual as writing less than, greater than, right? You can, this is how it's look like. $eq matches equal to specified value, $ne, right, matches all data not equal, gt for the greater than, gte is for the greater than equal, lt is for the less than, lte is for the lesser than equal, in is for the value specified in an array, and in none of the values specified in an array. These are the value condition, comparison operator or value condition you can use in the MongoDB. Let me show you an example. So let's suppose I want list of the students. Whose GPA is greater than 3.5, right? I want an example where I am talking about, hey, I just want the students who have greater than GPA of 3.5. So I will just mention GPA. Hey, first what I want GPA. And in this I will put another something like in curly braces, not this object, but curly braces. In the curly braces I say $. So when I put $, I am talking about comparison operator GT greater than 3.5. I want all students who have greater than 2.5. Let's do it. So Emily Carter have 3.9, right? The greater than was 3.5, so I got GPA of 3.9. That's it. Let's suppose that, let's do it for the age as well. I will put age, and let's say LTE less than equals to 20. So I will get Anshul 18, Emily Carter 20. Why 20? Because I had said LTE less than equals. What happens if I remove E from you? What will happen? Of course, you guys are correct. You are thinking right thing. It will just give me Anshul now. Correct, because the age less than 20 is only Anshul here. So that's how comparison operator works. There's in operator. In operator, what it do is only give the data which have this value. The only data which have particular value. That's it. db.student.find name, and there is in is for the exactly equal, exactly this thing that I want. When I put enter, I will just give Emily Carter. There is no Alex Morgan, so I am not getting any data for the Alex Morgan, but in means in the data, right? You can if you put NIN, let's suppose if I give NIN here, not into, so I will get all the data except Emily Carter and Alex Morgan. You can see there is no Emily Carter and there is no Alex Morgan in the database. So this is NIN that it means, right? Projection example. Show only names and GPA, so makes sense. I just want the data. Okay, so it's not gonna work in our database, but let me show you what happens in the projection, that I want the name at the first index and the GPA at the first index. If I press enter, you can see I got the first index that Akash and the first index of Anchal because they don't have GPA, right? So it doesn't given me a GPA. When I say GPA first, there is a GPA as well. GPA 1 means actually not index 1, it means true. My bad. 1 here is doesn't mean any value, it means true. Let's suppose if I give 0 to this and if I put enter, cannot do exclusion on field GPA in inclusion project. Okay, I have to give ID 0, I have to remove GPA from here. I will only get name from now onwards. If I do name, I just get name, right? If I do GPA, if I do GPA here only, right? So 1 means only names, right? The true value. 0 only for the ID, not for the GPA. You can't give GPA because it will only include the things that you are asking. ID is by default included. If you don't want the ID as well, you have to keep ID 0. If I remove this and if I just keep name 1, if I press enter, I will get the ID as well. Right? The ID is always gonna be there. So for if you don't want to include ID, you have only for the ID you have to give 0. Otherwise, you have to keep 1 for the things that you want to call it. Right? Is this much part is clear? Is this much part is clear? Okay, let's take a 2-minute break and let's start at 10:20. Let's get a 4-minute break and let's start at 10:40, 10:20, right? The very small, very less topics are remaining. We will get it covered by 11 by today, and that would make more sense, right? So yeah, let's do it. Okay, when we gonna start working with TypeScript by next week? No, not next week. We are going to cover Postgres by next to next week. There would be a recorded session of TypeScript. I will upload it. There would be no live class for TypeScript. It will get uploaded. From there you can you visit TypeScript, and then we will get started so that we save a lot of time. Okay, there is something called complex filtering examples. There is AND or something like we have conditional gateway. If you remember AND and OR, in the AND segment, if both are true, then only you will get an output. In the OR segment, what happens if there is a OR? It means either one of them is true. Let's suppose if I put AND option here. Now we will get more faster. We are not going to spend a lot of time. You have this notes link, right? You can just type it if you want to learn. Otherwise, I am just putting this directly in the code. I will just put it. There is AND either, not either. Both of the case have to be true. Age should be greater than equals to 20, and the GPA should be greater than 3.5. If I put enter, I can see that Emery Carter is only who have the age 20 and the GPA is actually greater than 3.5, right? What happens if I give OR? If I make it OR, then either of the case, either the age could be greater than 20 or GPA could be greater than, age could be greater than equals to 20 and the GPA could be greater than 3.5. So if I put enter, you can see I get so much of data. Either what, there is no GT, right? There is no GPA, by the way. So the greater than equals to 21 is get printed. There is a GPA of 3.4, but the age is 22. That's why it's get printed greater than equals to. So this is how it's worked. So if we put OR, so either one case should be true. If there is a AND, then all the cases that we are providing should be true. It's not only limited to these two things. You can give multiple conditions. You can give 3-4 more conditions, right? If you want. The data right now we are using is pretty small, so you can give a lot of data if you want. So yeah, that's the case. Let's suppose you want to find something inside the arrays. That's db.student.find, and the courses is math. You just have to you just want to find something in the array, and so you have to either first you have to give find in the find segment. You have to give courses and where you want to put everything, like the maths. I just want to put it in the maths. If I press enter, okay, there is no math, of course. If I put DSA, you can see Anchal and Akash have DSA. The courses, so the students who have selected a course with DSA, give me the output of that. So yeah, this is what happens. And in the multiple value, you can give multiple values as well. That all of this thing. If you giving the giving this dollar sign all, it means all this maths physics, although we are not going to get this, we have to give CSE and we want DSA, right? If I put this, then CSE, DSA, this both have to be there in the course, right? Because it's an array. In the array, I want there would be multiple values, and I want all these multiple values to be there. Even let's suppose there is a chemistry as well, right? Akash is chosen chemistry as well, and if I had put it maths physics, then also maths, physics and chemistry will be presented. If there is only maths and chemistry, there is no physics, then Akash is not going to get printed here. That's it. So these are the maximum condition that I had covered for the read segment. Let's talk about the update segment. In the update, you can just keep update 1, students, update 1. I want to set, okay, there is no name John Doe. What I will do, I will make it Akash, right? And in this, I am saying that, hey, dollar sign set, I want to set the GPA of 3.6 for the Akash, right? If you had given the name of Akash, acknowledge true, inserted ID null, match count 1, modified count 1, upserted count 1, 0, sorry. So what happens here, if I refresh it, now the GPA has been put in, right, in this. So GPA is there as well. If I put it again in the Anshul segment, because Anshul don't have any GPA, I will put Anshul, because Anshul is a shiny student, I will put it 4.6, and if I press enter, now Anshul will also have a GPA, right? So this is how you updated something in the collection in the object as well. So this is what, if you want to, let's suppose there's some scholarship that for the age 20 there you have to increase the age now, because obviously it's been an year, I want everyone's age to be updated, all that in backend is get done already. But yeah, if you want to update many things at once, you can just use update many, and when you will give it, so everyone whose age is 20, greater than 20, they will increment by 1, right? So they will increment by 1. If you want to remove a field, right, if you just want to remove a field, you just have to use unset, that's it. Just remove scholarship. Like let's suppose I don't want Akash to have this GPA field, I will just put it here, I will just put enter, and when I will come back to here, I will see that, hey, Akash don't have any GPA field now. Okay, Akash have, let me temper this. Okay, my bad, because I had updated the name would be Akash. Now Akash don't have any GPA field, right? This is what we are talking about when you put increment, and of course for the decrement DEC, increment $inc for the decrement DEC, and if you want to remove a field, just put unset, that's it. Append to any array, append means adding something, right? If you want to append something like this, let's suppose I want to append it in Akash, I am talking that, hey, Akash also has interest in literature, let's say Akash also have interest in literature, and I think most of the time we are gonna use library-based method to perform CRUD instead of using this cell-based command, right, Mukul, exactly. But this is important to learn, right? This is why because we are understanding how database MongoDB look like, so that's why. So yeah, when I do it, literature, although the when you are going to write a backend in MongoDB, you are going to use the same syntax there as well. So yeah, what I had done, forgot shit. Okay, I had added a literature, I had put it something, I want to update, I want to give something in the array, so that's why I just added literature, that is for the append. So I just use $push. If I just want to remove this from Akash, like I don't want Akash to follow literature, I am a very bad dad, so I am just going to put $pull, that's it. And now something from the array has been removed, right, that's it. Delete, if you want to delete one, just delete one. If you want to delete many, you can delete many. So these are the syntax, these are the query languages you use in MongoDB, that's it. And now let's get back to our theoretical part, which is important. Schema design, deep theory plus real example. This one is a more embedding, denormalization. When data frequently read together, small in size, low chance of growing unbound. Block with comment embedded. Right, there is something like embedding. No benefits for join. Fast read performance. So you can see the comment is actually in this title, right? Comments is actually embedded. So what happening here for the title MongoDB guidelines, suppose author is creates, there is a user and there is a like the use in the comment tone, it in the comment in itself there is another object that is going on here, right, for the comments, right. So what happened if I don't want to print comments, I won't do it. So now what happened, no need for joins, I don't have to make another table, another collection whose name is comment, and I have to link it, right, and I have to figure out it, hey, for the MongoDB guide, who has commented, which user has commented, and what has he or she has commented, right. I just created this inside it, denormalization, that's it. So every author will have every blog post have their own comments, and that's why this is easier. No need for join, fast read performance, of course, because you are not going from one collection to another collection, you are using the same collection in it, right. Limitation, there is a limitation, document can grow beyond 16 MB, which is very bad. Why? Because 16 MB will take a lot of time to go backward and forward in the servers to your front end or anywhere, like from the server to server as well. But it will take a lot of time to traverse the 16 MB file. And also the worst part is that it will hinder your computation cost, because 16 MB is a big thing to actually transfer. Then of course you are going to pay a lot computation, although I'm not talking about one collection, there are multiple collections, multiple objects which have more than 16 MB, then your computer will have computation cost will get higher and higher. Hard to update nested large array, that's true. The nested large array like comments have user, right, something like this, it's difficult to actually update it. Okay, referencing, normalization, there is something like object ID. Let's suppose I put object ID 12.3, so there is some object ID that is which goes to Krish. So here the title is advanced MongoDB and the author has been referenced to another collection, that is author collection, and whose name is Krish. Reuse, so what happened, data is large. When you have a lot of data, reuse across collections need strong consistency, right. So these are the things why I had put it this in this thing, because as I talked about thinking as an engineer perspective, we can end the session till here because this much is enough to actually get started with the backend and the code. But I want you to give an idea that how you will think. This is not limited to this. These are few of the examples. You can think more, but this will give more idea about hey, okay, how MongoDB works. Hey, how MongoDB gonna take space, how I'm going to reduce this, right. So this is giving you a little bit of system handling design system in your mind. Aggregation framework. So I had talked about the aggregation already, that let's suppose in the aggregate what happens, you want to process the data in stages. You don't want a complete data to come at a single go, right. You don't want the data to come at a single go. So let's suppose there is a match, it is completed, total, sort total -1. What happening basically it will give you the data one by one by one by one. It's not going to take a lot of your space, not going to call every data at once, and this will just abstract first and give you everything in step by step. You can see some examples by ChatGPT. Let me use it. Let's see how I can use this thing. Let's use CRUD for this. I want a good example. I am not able to think. Of course, I am tired now, but let's do it. So I have this. Let's create one for us. Let's in the cluster, the Mongo shell. Let me start a new Mongo shell. I will call use product, right? I'm just creating a use product, and I'm going to create db dot create collection whose name is products, let's say, for now. Cool. Let me just copy paste this. Insert many. I have insert many in this. So if you want, I will put it in the GitHub code for you, so that you can do this as well, right? I will put it in the GitHub code because I have a lot of orders. I have, okay, sorry, let's call, first I have to change the database name. Okay, it's done already, so let me refresh it. It's already added in the objects product and there's orders, right? So they had created an order field for this. That's good. Let's get into this now. Then here, from here now onwards, what happens? Let's come to this. I had created a lot of thing, but now step 2, run the aggregate pipeline. What is the aggregate pipeline? Stage 1, filter only completed order. I want the orders which has completed. Then stage 2, group by customer ID and sum the amounts that I want, like group by the customer ID and the total amounts, and the stage 3, sort by total in descending order. Let me do this. Everything going to happen in step by step format, right? As I talked about how I can make it visually appealing. That's why I use CRUD, so that it will take my time. So first thing first, stage 1, filter only completed order. When I press enter, okay, I had done. So very first thing what happened, very first thing what happened, only the status the status has completed, right? Whose status is completed, right? Customer 001 has completed, customer 004 has, let's suppose customer 004, we can go to customer 004 customer ID, and here we can find that. So okay, the status completed, right? The first thing I want that, hey, first match whose status has been completed. Second, please group them by the customer ID and the total, that is amount. What are the total amount they has paid, put it, right? So let's suppose customer 004 has amount 500. Let's suppose there should be something else as well. Customer 002 have 200. So we had some, we are providing the complete total order. The customer ID, let's suppose they are repeated customer ID, one order is completed, one is pending, but I want the sum. I just want the sum of customer 001 whose order is completed. Let's suppose he ordered of 300, so the sum is only going to be 300. Let's suppose the second order, which was of $200, now it's completed. Now in the aggregate, as per the aggregate condition, if the status is completed, then now what will happen? It will give me total 500, right? So this is one of the example. And the third thing is that I want them to come in a descending order. So this is what happening, customers 500, 450, and what I am talking about to come in descending order, the total, the first thing must be the highest paying customer, then the second 450, then third is 375 and 250. So aggregate help you to step by step filter out the options, right? And this will help you to build some script where you just want particular type of data. You can look upon common stages explained, match, filter, document, group and aggregate, and project shape output. You can see just we had created it, right? This sort, if this -1, this means descending. If it's 1 or 0, it's ascending. 0 is normal, 1 is ascending. Limit is 5 and skip. You can keep this as a HW homework, that you will figure it out. You will resource something, you will create a document around it, that hey, how I am going to use this group, project, sort, limit and skip. Feel free to use GPT, feel free to use Claude. Create your own logic, create your own collection, create your own first objects as well, and then try this all thing at your own, like figure it out. It will give you a lot of idea. Oh, in the MongoDB we have join operation. There is something called lookup, right? The lookup is what? From customers. Here you will see. So in the join, we what join means technically? Join means that you want to put a lot of data together. Like You want the data which have this much data in common. That's it, that we are talking about join. So here the join is actually known as dollar lookup. That's it, dollar lookup from customers. You can see from customers, from the customers local field customer id, foreign id is underscore id as customer. Let me try, maybe this can happen in this case because we have this. Yeah, it done, it's working for this. So from the lookup from customer, right, local field, there is no local field, I remember. Okay, we have customer id and there is a foreign id, there is no foreign id by the way as customers, so maybe it doesn't work. Okay, here you can see that the customer is actually empty because there is no foreign id, but cool, it will make sense that okay, I want to do a join operation. Real example, monthly sales analysis. So a good example of this is monthly sale analysis. If you want that, hey, I want to group something, let's suppose maybe this can happen with this. I hadn't created a collection for this examples, that's the issue. Group means what? You just grouped everything, you just computed everything, right? The group, there is id, in the id you have month and month date, sum and order count, that's it. So this is what monthly sales analysis, some examples take. Other than that, we have indexing, single field index, like suppose one. This is what we had done earlier, it's in detail, you can look, you can reference, you can use this for the reference for the later past. Otherwise this is all done. What is transaction? Transaction is actually somewhere where you transfer something, right? This is used in majorly in fintech, where I am talking about transferring point 1 to point b, that is transaction. So some example is money transfer, right? You can see some code here. This is we are going to use in the MongoDB, plus this is going to be used in the one of the project that we are going to build around fintech. So for that we have this, right, use case. So you can see in this we have transaction, right? So transaction is technically nothing but point A to point B. Like let's suppose someone has given me 100 rupees and he had 300 rupees, so 100 rupees will get deducted from his account and 100 will get increased in mine. So this is just transaction plus 100. Replication is something which is very interesting. It just for the system design purposes I had put it out. If you want to read it, you can read. It's not currently at this point of time tier 1 student, you don't need it. When you come to the tier 3 stage, you will need it, right? But I had kept it for you. And sharding, right? Otherwise it's completely done. Cool. So for now, let's keep this till here and let me stop the recording. It's been 1 hour and 17 minutes. That's good.